Hey everybody, today I'm going to be putting together some raised beds using materials that I just happen to have lying around. That way, we're in this time when we're not supposed to be going to the store, we're not supposed to be doing all these different things. But if you've got some of this material already laying around, why not put it to good use? So these are leftover materials from previous projects that I don't really need anymore, and they still have some usable life in it. It's pretty much just some lumber. Some of it was previously pressure treated stuff. You don't have to use pressure treated stuff if you don't feel that's necessary for your beds. These have been out in the weather, so pretty much anything that could have been in it is probably already washed out and removed, so it's not a big deal to me. So we're going to do that, and I'll show you how we put them together. Now for this project I'm using old lumber, and this is just some old pressure treated deck lumber here, and you see there it's not very thick at all. So in order to do everything, I'm going to have to come up with some sort of a corner for it that they can all kind of screw into. I'm going to use a series of deck screws, so you'll need deck screws or some sort of fasteners. You could probably use nails if you wanted to, but I like deck screws because they're coated, they don't wear out, and they last pretty well. And then I've got this other board over here that I'm going to need to use from, and I'm going to have to take out some pieces from it. Over here is the board I'm going to start with to use for the corner pieces. As for tools, just a simple skill saw will work. I always wear gloves when I'm doing things like that. I have a drill and a screwdriver to put them together. And of course, here's my deck screws. Oh, that's the wrong size. There. That's the deck screws. The 2-inch deck screws is what I'm going to use for this one. And of course, here are some other things that you'll need. Safety glasses, measuring tape, and a pencil. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the width of my boards here, which comes to 5 3/4 of an inch. And that's what I want the corner braces height to be. So I'll measure each one of those at 5 3/4. Right there. And of course, every time you make a cut, it's going to take off a little extra, so you have to kind of cut and remeasure, but I will do one on each end and cut from the ends to get to 5 3/4. These two pieces here will be 2 of the 4 corner blocks that we'll screw into. You know, this is not that high. We don't need really high raised beds where we are. We just need about 6 inches to kind of keep things nice and organized. We got plenty of great soil that's going to go into it. So I'm going to measure out 2 more pieces from this, from the cut ends. And this doesn't have to be perfect. All we're looking for is something that's going to hold all that soil inside the raised beds. Save that for another thing. But now we got 4 blocks here, and we're going to use those as our corner blocks. And everything's going to go in. Okay, the next thing I'm doing is I'm going to actually pre-start my holes here, because anytime you drill in wood, it could split, so I want to kind of reduce that chance. So I'm just going to pre-drill 2 holes here. Piece of cake. And then I'm going to take my screwdriver, which I was using a minute ago over there, and I'm going to use it to drill these holes. Now if you notice here, I'm using the bottom board as a backing board to just give me some more support so that this corner will be set good. So this is pretty easy. There we go, they got 2 of them in. I'm going to shift down to the other side, do the exact same thing. Lining up that corner piece. drill the holes. And put in our screws. Okay, that's all there is to that, and we're going to do that again for the other board. So all I need to do is boards around so I can use the bottom board as the support. Get my other set of corners, line them up where I want them. All over again. Now we have something that will sit kind of like that, and another one that will sit kind of like that. There we go. The next thing before we go to that step is we're going to drill some new holes into this board. And let me double check and make sure our measurement is good. The other piece of it is, see, we are slightly off on the length side there. So what we probably need to do is cut a little bit off of this piece here just to match it. So I'm just gonna do that. We'll cut that end piece off, and then we'll continue. Now that we know that, we are going to screw end to end into the corner pieces that are stuck in here. Just like that. So to do that, so I know exactly where they're going to go, take that pencil, stand this up, line it up to the edge, and then I'm just going to mark the width of that board. Do the same thing over here. Both sides will have the right spot for me to place screw holes in, which is next. Got it in an easy to manipulate position here. I'm going to go ahead and put in some screws as starters. But that won't be a big deal when I get them down there. It's a whole lot easier to start something, have it grip into the board, than it is when you're trying to do it sideways. And the purpose of these is just to last a year or two, because it's just what I had laying around, and these aren't going to make it that much longer, but I don't want to waste the materials. Okay, so that is good. And now we're just going to come down here and pin them together, corner to corner. Sometimes if it starts popping out and you pull it back a little bit, and then you pop it in, it'll screw in tight. lined up. Okay, now we got one more side to do. Stop. So I had one issue that I had to overcome, which is minor. I had to get a different size screw because this is a little thicker than what that one is. The 2-inch screws worked fine for the rest of it, but I had to go to 3-inch screws to get through this board here. So other than that, it's pretty easy. Sometimes you have to troubleshoot a little bit when you're trying to work with the scraps that you have around. Okay, so what we've got here now is we moved the raised bed into the vegetable garden area where we piled up a huge amount of grass clippings. The grass clippings are going to be used as an amendment, and they will break down and decompose as we go. They have pretty crazy scent to it right now of rotting hay, but that's good because that's what's going to happen. We're going to layer this bed, we're going to fill it up, and in about 2 weeks we're going to fill or put in our tomatoes and things like that into this bed here. We need to build one more raised bed over there to fill up some more, and then we've got a couple more raised beds on the other side. So that's kind of where we're at right now, and this was very easy to do. It took about 30 minutes to put it all together. If you've got all the right tools, it shouldn't take you hardly any time at all. So anyway, I'm Dave from Growing the Home Garden. Thanks for watching this video on how to make a raised bed, and thank you for liking and subscribing.